Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this video on the Sagittarius full moon happening on June the 3rd. So the energy surrounding this full moon is very optimistic. It is very much about what is your next adventure and expanding into new possibilities for your life. And it's going to feel much less heavy than some of the deeper soul transforming work we've been doing around eclipse season and even the couple of weeks following eclipse season, where we're integrating all these new downloads and just trying to process all of the changes that we have been initiated into. And I really love the energy of this full moon happening in the middle of Gemini season, which is a really fun social time. So we're going to dive in today. I'm going to share my screen and go over the main transits that are at play here. And as always, when I do these readings, I'm studying the astrology, and I'm also sharing with you channel guidance from the Akashic Records on how you can work with this energy in the highest timeline. So I am very much for that. I don't like sharing astrology that puts us into victim mode or a very fearful place that doesn't really honor our power. So how I see these cosmic energies is they are alive within us. They want to be expressed through us. And with every single aspect and transit and portal that's open through astrology, there's always a way to work with this energy in the highest timeline, in the highest expression, or in the lower octave. So I like to point out how some of these energies could manifest in the shadow side, but then ultimately how we can work with them in the highest timeline. So they support your expansion. So they support your healing. So they support you in moving closer toward your current goals. So with that being said, let me share my screen here so you have this visual representation as well. Make this larger. There we go. Okay. So this is the chart for the full moon in Sagittarius happening on June the 3rd. We have the moon over here, 13 degrees of Sagittarius, opposing the sun at 13 degrees of Gemini. So every month we're going to have this opposition between the sun and the moon, and that's what makes it a full moon. So we're currently working with the Sagittarius Gemini axes. So these are opposite signs but compatible energies. And that's always really important to look at with oppositions. They kind of pull us in different directions initially until we learn how those energies are meant to come together. And then we find that beautiful balance. So let's understand a little more deeply. Firstly, this archetypal energy of Sagittarius. So the phrase that always comes to mind when I think of Sagittarius is the freedom-loving adventurer of the zodiac. Like the vibe of don't fence me in. I want to play. I want to have fun. I want to explore. I want to go on my next adventure. And both Sagittarius and Gemini are actually very much related to travel. And Gemini is more about local travel, like exploring our community. My dad is a Gemini, and this has always stood out since I was a kid. Like, he loves to do errands, like run errands in the community and take his time and just talk to people that he meets along the way. And it just feels like that's such a Gemini vibe. Just exploring, really open, curious, talking to people along the way. And Sagittarius is more about long distance travel, like that kind of travel and adventure. But both Sagittarius and Gemini also speak to mental exploration. It's about knowledge and learning. And Sagittarius is where we begin to come to different conclusions or create stories around what we believe to be true about ourselves and the world around us. So in Gemini, we're collecting the data, we're collecting the information. And in Sagittarius, we start to come to conclusions around what we believe. And the phrase that kept coming in as I was feeling into this energy, this archetypal energy of Sagittarius, is if we believe we live in a loving world, we do, and we will create that all around us. We will be a living example of that. We will see that reflected all around us. If we believe we live in a world that is evil or in a place that's unsafe. We will also create that all around us. So basically, what lens are we seeing the world through? What stories are we telling ourselves about what's possible, what the world is like? Because there's many different paradigms of reality that can and do coexist. And the lens in which we see the world from really dictates our experience within it. So the Sagittarius full moon is a wonderful time to release and let go of any outdated stories, any story you've created about the world that feels disempowering. Let it go. You don't have to carry things around that take you out of your power or put you in a place of fear. Put on a new lens. It's time to see it in a new way. It's time to collect new information and data that is actually supportive of where you desire to go. So very big theme around this energy. Now, I also spoke to this idea of adventure and travel and exploration. So it's really looking at, how have you fenced yourself in your life? Where have you stayed too much in your comfort zone? When we continually, and comfort is a big thing. I mean, I'm a Taurus moon. I mean, in my birth chart, my moon is in Taurus. I totally get the desire to feel comfortable, to feel safe. And I also know if we continually choose comfort over growth, eventually we stagnate and we wonder why things aren't changing around us, or we wonder why we're not moving toward our goals, or we're wondering why we're feeling bored and lacking that passion for life. One of the reasons is likely we've continually chose comfort over expansion and growth. And this full moon is that invitation to like lean in every day, do something that just like slightly puts you out of your comfort zone. Say yes to what you really want. Don't put it on hold till later. The shadow side of this energy is constantly seeking but never arriving. It's the grass is always greener on the other side, where we are thinking that adventure and abundance are external to us instead of things we cultivate internally. So big theme around noticing where we're doing that, where we're putting our happiness on hold, where we're in this state of waiting, right? Wait, like no one likes to be in that vibe of waiting or saying, I can't do this now, I have to wait until a later time, instead of just saying yes to where our soul is guiding us, because it really is an illusion. If we think I'll do this later, I'll do this one day, all of life is happening in the now, in this moment, and we have to be brave and courageous enough to say yes to where we are being guided in this moment and not live in the illusion of I will put it off until later, I will do this another time. That's also where we can find this energy of stagnation happening. So looking at the aspects of the moon here. So the first one that's standing out is we have this trine happening with Mars in Leo. It is not an exact trine. We have Mars at 8 degrees of Leo, the moon at 13, but all the same, it is in effect. And this is a lot of fire energy being activated. So this is passion, this is drive. Mars in Leo, Mars is very happy in Leo. It is very playful, it is very fun, it is very creative. So again, these are all energies within you that you can really tap into at this time. What do you desire to create? How can you welcome more joy and playfulness into your life? What does adventure mean and look like to you? Like my definition may be very different from yours, and your definition 10 years ago may be very different than what it is today. So tune in today and ask, what does adventure mean for me? What does play mean for me? What does joy look like for me? What is life-giving? What is energizing? How can I practice saying yes to that? The other aspect of the moon here is a square happening with Saturn at 7 degrees of Pisces. So again, this is not exact, but in astrology, just for my astrology lovers, a little side, we usually use an orb of 8 to 10 degrees. It varies. Some astrologers will do just up to 6 degrees. So it's not always just needing to be the exact degree to be in effect and to really feel the energy. So we can even see the chart here is still showing that there's a square aspect between the moon in Sagittarius and Saturn in Pisces. So I love this aspect because Sagittarius is so like go big, explore, lean in. It is very bold, it is very bright, it is very spontaneous, and Saturn brings an element of structure. So I think having these energies together are really good. And this is also about knowing ourselves. Some people by nature, like your unique soul blueprint is more adventurous and you're somebody who doesn't overthink and you may just lean in and go for it. You're like, say yes, figure out how later, that kind of vibe. Whereas other people may spend a long time in indecision or contemplation before they feel ready to make their move. So these energies here bring a good balance of like leaning in, saying yes, stop putting your life on hold, be brave, be courageous, trust the universe will support you when you have the courage to lead yourself and go first. Kind of an aside, but a message I feel coming in from the records around this is looking at where are you in that space of just sitting and waiting for everything to look perfectly and everything to align before you say yes to what you really want? The universe will respond to you. Have the courage to lead yourself. Have the courage to say yes and trust universal forces will get behind you when you have the courage to go for what it is you really want, instead of making excuses for why you can't have it or putting it off until a later time. So Saturn brings an element of structure to this as well, an element of discipline to follow through with what it is we desire. So even though that's a square formation, which can indicate an element of tension, so it could play out where you feel like, I really want to do this, but then another part of you is afraid or holding back, or you feel like something is blocking you from getting to where you want to be. This can also be that balance between, I'm going to do my part, I'm going to lead myself, I'm going to go first, and I'm going to trust I will be supported, and I'm going to create systems and structures in my life that support me in moving closer to what it is I desire to create. And I know that sounds very vague. You can apply this to many different things, right? Like I work with a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs. So this could be a desire to expand into your next income level, maybe consistent 10K months. So that's a desire, that's a goal. And then there needs to be action and structure to back it up as well. So programs, the pricing of your programs, speaking to your soulmate clients, knowing what your message is, being visible, putting yourself out there. So when we say we desire something, there's the actions we take that actually back it, right? And align with that desire. So the ruler of this full moon is Jupiter. So we're going down here. Jupiter in the sign of Taurus recently moved into Taurus for the first time in 12 years. This is really good for any of you who are ready to activate new levels of abundance. And it's this beautiful reminder that the feeling of abundance, that feeling of more than enough, which is really who we are, that is something we generate and cultivate within us, not something that is external. We sometimes think that if we had maybe, 6 figures in our savings, then we will feel abundant, then we will feel safe. None of that is true. External things temporarily do influence how we feel. We have so many examples of that. But ultimately, it's what we get good at generating and cultivating internally that will influence what we create and attract and how we feel day to day. So abundance is something we learn to embody, especially speaking of Taurus. It's a very grounded, earthy energy. What are we embodying? How can you notice today all the ways that you are already living in the vibe of overflow, of more than enough, of abundance? And just a way to cultivate this, I invite you to share below, what are you grateful for? When we are in gratitude, we are in abundance, because when we are in gratitude, we are noticing what is working, what we do want, as opposed to what isn't working or what we don't want. So gratitude is a beautiful way to open our heart space and to really focus our subconscious mind in the direction of, I have what I want, I have more than enough, I am not in lack, I am in abundance, I am in overflow. Now, Jupiter is conjuncting the North Node here. So this is really beautiful. In your chart, the North Node is very significant. Understanding the sign the North Node is in, the house placement that it's in, the aspects that it's making with other planets will give you so much information on your life path and purpose in your birth chart. And we're also going to talk about the North Node here in Taurus for the collective as well. So the North Node in astrology are the lessons and skills that our soul wants to learn to develop or fine-tune this lifetime. It's not necessarily things that come easy to us or natural to us. That's more the South Node. The South Node speaks to our past. It speaks to skills we have mastered. The North Node is what we are here to learn. The North Node is what we are here to master. And the more that we lean in to our North Node, the easier things will flow. And it also keeps us growing and stretching and evolving. And it's what our soul wants to learn to support, like the bigger picture of our soul journey, our soul growth and evolution outside of just this lifetime. So it's very significant in astrology. Now, at the time of this full moon in Sagittarius, the collective North Node here at this time is conjuncting Jupiter. And this can speak so much to like how you're expanding and growing at this time. And coming back to this conversation that has been a big theme lately, if you've been following my videos these past few months, what are you giving your energy and attention to that is life-giving? And what are you giving your energy and attention to that is draining and that zaps your energy? And this is really about like focus on where you are going, focus on what that next adventure is for you, focus on what you are expanding into, focus on what you want, stay aligned to your path. Let go of comparing to other people. Other people's decisions and actions and what they're up to in life may have nothing to do with what you are here to create and experience. So stay in your lane. Trust your heart to guide you. This Jupiter here being the ruler of the full moon, because it rules over, naturally, it is the ruler of Sagittarius, making it the ruler of this full moon, currently in the sign of Taurus, also adds an element of grounding that I think is really welcomed in this energy, because this is an energy where, again, the fire, the passion, we're feeling a lot moving through us. Gemini connects us to the intellect and the mind. So Taurus is very welcomed of like, come back to our body, slow down a little bit. Slow down to, in essence, speed up. And that's what Jupiter and Taurus reminds us of as well. It's by slowing down, working at a pace that honors our body, we actually can accelerate our manifestations because we're more intentional and embodied and grounded in what we are doing. It's not like our mind is, racing and like 10 steps ahead of us, and then our body's back here in panic because it doesn't feel safe to take the action. We want that alignment, and Jupiter and Taurus helps us align our thoughts, our belief systems, our energy, our nervous system with what we want to create. So it's a clean, clear, cohesive signal that we are sending out into the universe. So very supportive. Loving the vibe of this full moon. Very, very supportive energies. So we're also going to take a look here at Mercury conjuncting Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So Mercury, the reason we're going to look at Mercury is it is the ruler of Gemini. So it is actually ruling over Gemini season. So it is very significant right now as well. Mercury conjunct Uranus can expand us into new possibilities for our life. It can bring in new ideas that you can apply to problems in your life. So Mercury is the communication planet. It does govern over the mind and our intellect. Uranus is the disruptor, the awakener, the rebel. And when planets are conjunct, their energy fuses together. So we are really awakening to those new possibilities, awakening to new belief systems that can support us in achieving the abundance we desire, the impact we desire, in getting from where we are to where we desire to be. And in kind of like thinking outside of the box as well and seeing our blind spots. So this is one of the many reasons that I think working with a coach, a mentor, a counselor, a healer, all of these beautiful resources of people that we have on the planet to help us, one of the reasons it's so helpful is they can easily see our blind spots. They can easily come in with an objective viewpoint and see the patterns that we are stuck in our life and be more attuned to the solution than we can be. because we all have blind spots that we don't see if we're just really stuck in our ego. So this energy can help bring in new information. It could be unexpected news as well. That's a very literal way to read Mercury conjunct Uranus, unexpected information, unexpected news coming in, but I feel it's very supportive. It's like unexpected information, something that someone says that just clicks. It helps bring the puzzle pieces together, and suddenly we see a solution that we overlooked before. Suddenly we become inspired with the next action we are called to take. So love those energies. It's very dynamic. Now, one of the things I will say, there could be a tendency this full moon to really have a very overactive mind. So that's where we want to make sure we are grounding as well. Like when we have a lot of exciting ideas flowing in and we're keeping up with them, it feels really good. So maybe we have an idea drop in for a new program that we want to create in our business that can bring healing and transformation to so many people. The idea comes in, it feels exciting. And we work with this Saturn energy to bring all the details together. So we're ready to launch it and share it with the world. That feels good. We run with the energy. Where we bring resistance in is we have an idea drop in, we don't take action on it, or we start to need to know all the little details before we move or do anything, and then we become overwhelmed, essentially. So we want to be aware that we're not shifting into overwhelm, that we're keeping up with these ideas, or just simply relax, breathe, get outside and ground. That's what Jupiter and Taurus reminds us of. Take a moment if you're feeling overwhelmed to just take a few deep breaths and come back to your body and ask yourself what you need in this moment to feel nourished, to feel safe, and moving forward, to feel supported. Is there something you can do that can help support your body, that can help support your mind, that can help support your overall well-being? Because Mercury conjunct Uranus can definitely be a lot of downloads, a lot of information that's coming in. And then, I mean, we're Gemini season. The sun in Gemini is a time that's very fast-paced anyway. So just be aware of that. But again, I think it's all in how we play with this energy. If we are willing to take action on our ideas, if we're willing to, even if we don't know all the steps, we're just in the space of, I trust the right person will come in at the right time. I trust I will be led to the information that I need to help bring clarity. If we're in that vibe of, I've got this, I am supported, this is exciting, this is fun energy for us to create and play in. All right, so that is our Sagittarius full moon. Share below what you are creating in this energy. What are you grateful for? Full moon's always a time of releasing, healing, clearing, as well as celebration. So looking at, especially with the Sagittarius full moon, what old stories am I now choosing to let go of that no longer support me? Any belief that doesn't support my vision, any belief that doesn't empower me gets to be released and replaced by a thought that feels better, by a thought that feels more aligned with my soul truth. I'm also going to attach some helpful links below for you. So my Instagram, where I'm posting throughout the week, my one and only account attached below. I will share a link as well to my Divine Creators Inner Circle for anyone that wants to connect more deeply with me in a beautiful community of light workers. We do new and full moon ceremonies in there every month. There's also incredible content where you'll learn how to access your Akashic records and work in that space to expand your business, to shift into the energy of abundance and overflow. Beautiful courses in there around astrology as well, and understanding your unique energetic blueprint, aka your birth chart, and how to channel that energy to help you achieve the goals that you have in your business, in your finances, in your relationships, in any area of your life. Astrology will provide so much insight. All right, I am sending you all so much love, so much light. Happy full moon. Enjoy this beautiful Sagittarius energy, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.